Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about highly selective admissions and what you need to know about applying to these top tier schools. I just got back from a conference and we had Caltech, WashU, Stanford, and a couple of other high profile institutions that were sharing with us what it means to be a selective university when it comes to admissions and financial aid and just the kinds of things that they are looking for. So here I am sharing those things with you. Now, you must remember that these highly selective schools mean that they deny more people than they let in. So typically you're thinking with admit rates of less than 30%. And of course, some of the ones that I named have drastically lower acceptance rates than that. And of course, this probably isn't a shocker, right? But they're expecting everybody to have the strong academics. So the grades, the test scores, the activities, right? Those are the quantifiable pieces that everybody has a 4.0 GPA and everybody has a 1600 SAT, right? Those aren't differentiators when it comes to these kinds of universities. Those things that are differentiators and that are often overlooked by people are going to be more along those lines of kind of that coined phrase, why they call it holistic admissions, is understanding that each institution is going to also have their own priorities of how they're going to build their incoming freshman class and the kinds of students that they are looking for. And they want to see that you are genuinely interested in their school. So Caltech was being super silly and I don't even honestly know what the term is, but some quirky science term about wet chemistry or what have you. And they're like, what we want to see is that all of that is expressed in how you are going to fit that vibe and culture of a Caltech student. And it should come across in your activities and in your essay, but most importantly, in your supplemental essay. So that was interesting that they said all across the board, right? Your general essay is just going to show them, can you write? What they want to see is yet again that fit. So when you think about the supplemental questions, that's where the why Caltech or the why Stanford, and you need to have a real genuine answer about why that school. And if you can't come up with that answer, it's not a school that you should be applying to. And I love that they all said this. They were like, you know what? Going to WashU or University of Chicago or Stanford is different than going to Caltech. We want you to pick your favorites in terms of your top tier schools and put your effort into those and not to apply to every single one just to see if you can get in, right? Really honestly look at who's going to be that best fit, and recognizing that it is a very competitive process. And so we want to make sure that we're standing out from the crowd, and you can put that effort into the way that those applications really deserve. So if you are considering looking at any of the highly selective schools, make sure you do your research. And also reach out to the university, because often they were saying a lot of them don't kind of recognize demonstrated interest as much anymore. But if you want to do an interview, sometimes it's part of their official process. Like Stanford, you have to, it's their first phase. Once you get offered, once you submit your application, you're offered an interview, and that is just part of their process. You can't request one. But at other schools, you have an opportunity to request that interview, which can also be a great opportunity for you to make that connection with somebody and for them to be on your side, and to get to know who you are and be an advocate for you. So that can be super helpful in this process. But you should always keep a positive mindset, okay? Remember that these are the highly rejectable institutions. It doesn't say anything about who you are as a student. It is really just understanding the nature of these universities. And so make sure that you have a great overall list with maybe some of those highly selective schools, as well as some others that are going to be great fit in terms of being in your wheelhouse. And of course, we're talking about this admissions piece, but then there's also the financial aid side of things. And each of the institutions does have a different way of looking at things in regards to how much need they give, and whether that is filled by loans, and then also whether they're going to look at a financial need for the sake of admissions. And so some schools are need blind and they won't look at whether you need it for the sake of getting in, and other schools are. So we have to then have a deeper conversation too, and understanding what is our expected family contribution number, and then what does that mean in terms of how much we would be expected to pay at these different schools. And then of course, and the other piece of that too is then looking at early decision, 1 and 2, restrictive early action like Stanford has, or is it just regular admission? So looking at the statistics on whether the universities on your highly selective list are those that let in most of their students off of their early decision roster, right? Like if they're letting in 50% of their incoming freshman class from early decision, then we better be applying early decision to that school and be okay with however much it could potentially cost us for us to increase our opportunities of getting in. So those are some of the other factors that we want to take into consideration, right? We're marrying that conversation of admissions with money. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more college planning tips and advice, and we will see you next time.